we get great responses that, you know, their eyes have been opened to.
We're all special and individuals.
We don't wear brand labels. It's different.
And in the Bible it says in Matthew 5:23-24 it says,
this group has been around via Facebook. One of my friends knows.
Cool thing to do at the moment, and like until you're married.
welcome to Saym TV. My name is Jake. I'll be your host for today. Thank you for joining us once again. I thank you to our audience as well for being here with us, and also our awesome panel. Here on my right, we have Lily.
Hello.
Welcome, Lily. Thank you for joining us. We have Sondra, and we also have Roland.
Thanks,
thank you guys for taking the time to just come and just discuss our topic today. Now, our topic today is sexualization of young people and pornography. Now, you know, in 2006, internet publishers and expert product reviews for software and web services, like, they released some statistics for the porn industry that are pretty scary. The size of the porn industry is $57 billion worldwide annually. Now, so the US porn, now this is just the US porn revenue exceeds the combined revenues of ABC, CBS, and NBC put together.
Wow.
And to put on a further note for all you athletes out there, the porn revenue make more money than the NBA, the NFL, and the baseball league put together.
Crazy.
That is nuts.
Wow.
So what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of money, eh? And I think that's the large part behind it is money. A lot of it's money driven, and you know, not really it's a conspiracy, but you know, it's amazing how you know, you'll see an advert for chicken or something, and you see a half-naked lady dancing around a pole. And I'm like, man, what's that got to do with chicken? But yeah, I guess one of the main things, again, because even the industries, they realize that the sexual images, if it's tied to their brand, will linger in people's minds a lot longer. Like, for instance, like, yeah, if you had me eating Cocoa Pops as a photo, you know, and then you have like a half-naked beautiful lady eating Cocoa Pops with a photo, I'm sure most people who see that image would probably think more about Cocoa, but like if it's just me out there, they're probably like, they have nightmares of Cocoa Pops and not buy the product, okay? But if they have this half-naked beautiful lady, they'll be like just dreaming, Cocoa Pops, wake up in the morning, buy Cocoa Pops. So the whole thing is, very much money driven.
So you're saying it starts off with the ads that people see, and then eventually people get into the porn and to the bit where it's a bit more revealing, and is that what you're...
Oh, it is, man. I mean, yeah, when I walk in Westfields and, you know, man, I'm doing my best to be a godly man, and I got to, you know, a lot of times because I can't know where to look, so you know, I'm always worried I might fall down the escalator or something because just like these half-naked men, women everywhere, like trying to sell their brands and stuff, and.
Well, you know, everyone's on Facebook and everyone's always on the internet these days. Even young kids are always on the internet now. It's said that there are 4.2 million pornographic websites. Now that's 12% of the internet. What are you guys' thoughts of that? Out of all the websites that are out there, like businesses and things like that, the porn industry has 12% of the internet sites.
I guess in a way it's not surprising though, because the internet is a forum that is pretty anonymous. And so for something that is frowned upon in society, really, like officially, it's a pretty open door through the internet, through these kind of, sometimes even the social networking sites, to be able to put material or photographs or videos or whatever in an accessible location. And I'm guessing that some of it wouldn't even be professionally made. It would just be people kind of doing
stuff.
Yeah, taking photos or like not amateurs, not the right word, but not, you know, just because they want to express that part of themselves, but that gets counted into it.
Yeah.
Well, it says, and this is more shocking now, just to focus on young people, the largest consumer of internet pornography is the 12 to 17 age group.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Real scary. I mean, yeah, just reading in this book, it's called Coincidence, Big Porn Incorporated. And no, I didn't write it, but it's by Melinda Tankard-Rice. And some of the stats that she has, these are Australian stats. Michael Flood did a study last year of 16 to 17-year-old teenagers. And the study found that 73% of boys had watched an X-rated video, with 1 in 20 watching it on a weekly basis, more than 1 in 5 watching it at least once a month. So that's the guys. Joanne Sowers also did a research in 2009 on Australian young girls, Australian teenage girls, and she found that surveying Australian girls aged 12 and under, she found that 53.5% of them have seen pornography. That's Australian girls 12 and under, with the figure rising to 97% by the time they're 16.
The sad thing is it shouldn't be very surprising because it's in your face all the time. And you know, you got the issue with beauty pageants as well for young tots. You know, they've got, you know, I think I remember seeing one video clip of this 3-year-old wearing, I don't know if you've seen the video or the film Pretty Woman, the outfit that, I've forgotten her name, is it Julia Roberts? Yeah. Well, she's, you know, she's got this outfit on, but this 3-year-old girl is in this outfit prancing around, you know, wearing that same, you know, it's a bit daunting.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
So by our kids watching this sort of stuff, how does it affect them growing up as a child? Because it says that the average age of first exposure to internet pornography is 5 years old.
Yeah.
And so growing up as a child, how do you think that affects them?
Well, you're dealing with stuff that you, as children, shouldn't have to deal with. You know, children aren't meant to have to, or even emotionally able to cope with that sort of information.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think a lot of young people actually, they're hooked into pornography without even realizing it. Like we mentioned the advertisements already, and then if you guys watch MTV, which I really call PFT, you know, porn for teens, because that's what it is. If you guys ever watch the clips, you know, you got ladies dancing around with just like a shoelace covering, you know, certain areas of their body. And here's just a couple of songs that are currently on the charts. Beyonce, you know, she's one of the big hits with a lot of young people today. She's got a song out there called Party. And here's the lyrics, you know, the song starts off, you a bad girl and your friend's bad too. Oh, we got the swag, so she dripping swagoo. Now, I'm not really sure what swagoo is, okay, but it doesn't sound like, I'm not sure it's not Cocoa Pops, I don't think it's something, so it's something different. And then Beyonce, you know, she digs into the song and she's dressed so provocatively, and here's what she sings, you know. She says, I may be young, but I'm ready to give you all my love. I told my girls you can get it. Don't slow it down, just let it go. So in love, I'll give it all away. Just don't tell nobody tomorrow. You know, and then you know, as most songs, they have a little bit in the middle where the rapper comes in and he raps. And this is his rap part. He says, you know, I got a homeboy named Butter and another homeboy, that nigga named Cheese, and beep me baby. And then he says, I make it milk till it drip down your knees. And you know, and these are songs that young people are listening to. Yeah, that's crazy, and so they're sending this message, and the half-naked ladies, and then, you know, when guys watch it or people watch it, then, you know, and it just stimulates them for a while, and next minute, you know, they go into, they want something more. Yeah, I mean, you guys heard of Katy Perry's song? Yeah. You know, last Friday night, and again, you know, I mean, just reading the lyrics, you know, that starts off, there's a stranger in my bed. And the crazy thing about that clip, when you watch it, Katy Perry is dressed up like a teenager. She's got braces. She's doing this paper run. So she's supposed to be like a teenage girl, 14 years old or so. And she sings a song, I've got the stranger on my bed. There's a pounding on my head. And then it goes to the chorus, and it's like, we went streaking in the park, skinny dipping in the park, then had a menage a trois. And then it's like, menage a trois it's like, well, the French, you know. I did some French back then. And it apparently means a household of 3, but menage a trois nowadays basically means a threesome. So here's, you know, Katy Perry pretending to be a teenage girl, saying, I woke up with a stranger in my bed, I had a threesome, skinny dipping, all this kind of stuff. I mean, what kind of message are they sending to young people?
But the other thing is they also sort of make it look all glamorous and like it's the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And because, you know, young kids are always influenced by these people. These people are meant to be role models, but because, you know, sex sells, that's... You know, people just think, oh yeah, maybe if, you know, because these people are doing it, maybe I should do this too.
Well, we'll come back to that. We'll go over to our music segment and see what Nathaniel and Rachel have in store for us this week. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Jake. This week we're reviewing an album called Wow Worship. This is a compilation of all the different various artists' songs put together in one. And there's actually 2 discs to this album, and they're really, all the songs are very inspirational and meaningful.
Yeah, if you want to if you're a little bit don't know what kind of Christian music you like the most, or you just want to hear what's the latest stuff that's out there, is what are the new Christian artists that are just coming out, just starting up, and what are the Christian artists that are already out there, what are the new songs, what are the new albums. This kind of takes all of the latest Christian artists that are out at the moment, puts them together in one, and releases it on 2 CDs, so you can kind of see a whole different variety of genres of music.
So it's like the Christian So Fresh.
Yeah, like a Christian So Fresh. Yeah. So we've got one clip of just one example of a song done by Planet Shakers that's listed on here. So we'll give you guys a little bit of a brief preview of that, see what you guys think. Yeah, so that's just a little preview of one of the songs that are on here. It has a whole varied type of music on here. So if you like a particular type of music, you can see that particular type displayed here.
All the different genres.
Yeah,
as well,
and all the different artists that play that kind of type of music. So if you're interested, definitely hit this group that puts these albums together up. Back to you guys.
So going back to our topic, talking about how sexualization of young people, and we've spoken about how kids see that sort of stuff and they can imitate it without understanding the potential implications. Well, Lily, being a chaplain at a primary school, is it something that you hear every day? Kids coming to you and saying they've seen this sort of stuff, or do they imitate artists such as the ones Roland has mentioned? Or do they say, I want to be like them when I grow up?
It's funny that you mentioned the dancing and imitating, because I admit that I've never really felt the need to be, sexy, but it's kind of confronting when I see kids, particularly young girls, who are doing dance classes or whose mums and dads are sending them to these classes, because it's always been a great thing, ballet, dancing, and now there's all these different genres of dance. But they'll say, oh, look, I've learnt this new move, or they'll just be playing in the playground and they're 5 years old or 6 years old, and they'll start imitating moves from like a Beyonce type of clip. I don't want to pick on Beyonce, I'm sure she's a lovely girl, but there are certain moves that are popular in some of the clips, and Lady Gaga probably is another great example. And I find it weird, because these little girls are sort of doing this dance and they're saying, look what I can do, and then they're doing cartwheels and stuff. And I'm thinking from my perspective, well, I understand what that song's about, and I understand what the moves are supposed to suggest. And you are just dancing. And I don't think that kids understand, but the moves and watching some of these things, whether it's a print commercial or whether it's a video clip, I don't think even teenagers really understand that they're having a physical response to it. They're having a mental response to this visual information that is going to urge them to do things.
And they actually understand what they're
then once they figure out that it is connected to a more sexualized way of life, they sort of go, well, it's okay, like it's cool, or everyone's doing it, but it feels nice, and it becomes very clouded, the idea of I should hold back because it's so pleasurable. I think that's where the porn industry has such a sweet hook, because it feels all right and it's not hurting anyone, or that some of the rationalizations that people use for it, makes me feel good, or I don't know. It's just, I think that's a real question mark for me.
Well, I can back that up. We went to a school once when I was with a band, and we ran this segment called, it was like a talent quest. We called up 3 kids to come and sing, dance. They can even say poems. It's really just to make them feel good and showcase what they can do. And we had this 5-year-old girl come up, and it was her turn, and she said she was going to dance. We're like, all right, so we chucked on some music for her. And the moves that she did, oh man, it shocked us. But the thing that was shocking us even more, the teachers were there like, oh, I'm so proud of her. Wow. And she was just like, I mean, if you were to say it into the music industry, it's shaking your booty. That's what she was doing. And she did it really well because of the things that she's seen on TV. But we were shocked, but it was even more surprisingly that we looked out in the crowd and all the adults, and I don't know if her parents were there because there were a lot of parents there. They were all like clapping for her because it's the normal thing to do now.
Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah.
Normal for a 5-year-old to shake their booty.
Yeah, and even in kids' movies, there was a movie that came out I think last year called Hop, and there's a scene in the movie where the main character, the key bunny, is looking for a place to stay, and he goes up to Hugh Hefner's mansion, and he just ding ding, and he's got the big Playboy label there, and he goes, "Oh, have you got a place to stay?" And Hugh Hefner, he says, "Oh, this is where all the sexy bunnies stay." So I'm thinking, man, here's a kids' movie, and you got this Hugh Hefner, who's this old guy who stays with heaps of young girls, blonde and that, sleeps with them, he brags about sleeping with them, and it's in a kids' movie. Like, man, that's just crazy. It's like, oh.
Yeah. No worries. Well, we'll head over to our science segment now, and we'll see what Ebony and Artie have for us this week. Over to you guys.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the lab today. As you know, we're talking about sexualization of children and young people and pornography.
And we've noticed that, I guess over time, the age that kids are being exposed to pornography and stuff like that is getting, really younger.
Yeah, children are learning how to be sexy at a younger age, and sometimes it's sad to say it, but it's girls more than guys. This has been done by TV, magazines and toys. They're telling them how they need to look, how they need to act, and what sort of things they need to do.
To, I guess, impress the opposite sex even.
Yeah, and it gives them a false idea of what it really is to be a grown-up, maybe.
Yeah, in reality, it's not how life is.
We went shopping and we brought some toys that we think are encouraging our younger generation to
I guess not
be
really
sexy, maybe is
not be themselves, just act older than what they really are. And so here we have what's called Bratz Kids. And so
these kids are supposed to be maybe 4 or 5. So yeah, we'll just have a quick squiz.
So here, I guess it looks kind of, grown up.
Yeah.
Maybe not something a young boy or girl would be wearing.
If you look at the size of their legs, I've never seen a child have, and I'm a teacher, so I've never seen children have such giant legs in comparison to their bodies.
It's just not in proportion. And so you can notice that these dolls, that the pictures that are associated with them are just...
They don't look 4, they look maybe 20 or,
Yeah, and they're wearing mini skirts and stuff, and it's not right. And I mean, with these clothes in particular, they can clip on and clip off, and so what...
Their backsides are exposed.
So yeah, you might be able to notice, maybe not, but behind them, they're just wearing their underwear. So I don't know if that's showing a very good side to...
These, you want to hold this one?
Yeah, sure.
These, we have Barbie. We all know Barbie. And we know that if Barbie was a real woman, it would be impossible for her to survive, as her body is not in proportion. She's
meant to be like the perfect woman, but...
But her upper area is probably too big, and she wouldn't be able to survive.
But yeah, so that's what little girls look up to as a perfect woman in a bikini, and this says I think 4+, 3+.
Yep.
And I just think that's completely awful. And here now we've got something. It says "Style Me Up," and what it is, it's
this is for ages 8+.
And it's glitter tattoos. And I personally, when looking at this picture as well, this girl looks, I don't know, in her 20s, showing off tattoos. I just don't think it's showing the right sort of attitude towards our kids. It's just sexualizing them.
We also have some magazines that we got, and we did we chatted to our audience, and we looked at 2 magazines. This is a Clear and this is In Style, and we asked the audience which one they would prefer to read,
to look at,
and they said that this one takes their eye more. And why do you think that might be true, Adi?
And well, really, because what they've said is that she just looks more sexy, and I guess Katy Perry with her pink hair doesn't do her any justice.
We also asked Adi's mum, and she also said the same thing.
Yeah. And
which so it seems that the world is getting sexier and sexier, and this can all lead to pornography. And we've done some research on pornography, and we looked at a university over in San Antonio found that watching pornography is as addictive as cocaine, meth and alcohol. It can also lead to social problems in teenagers. Dr. Donald Hamilton, he did some research and he looked at, if you could just get up the brain for us. When you watch pornography, it affects the frontal lobe of your brain.
So that's actually a really giant part at the front there.
Yeah, which seems to be the largest part of your brain.
And so what that does, it actually, people that watch pornography at that age, that frontal lobe actually shrinks. And that's the same thing that happens with people that are alcoholics and drug addicts. So that's pretty crazy.
Children are particularly susceptible to brain damage because their brain absorbs information much faster than those of an adult, and pornography addiction is likely to degrade their intellect.
Because at that age, when they're young, their body is still developing, and so they're more susceptible to this damage. And really, when it comes down to it, kids are exposed to things like TV. There's TV shows like...
It's not just pornography.
Yeah.
Pornography is being slid into, like you said, normal TV shows like How I Met Your Mother, Friends, 2.5 Men, The Notebook.
And then there's even this new movie out, what is it?
Twilight Breaking Dawn.
Twilight Breaking Dawn, yeah. And we've done some research about that as well. And so there's a scene in that movie that is Edward and Bella, they have...
The sex scene.
For the first time. And it's really steamy. And so what they actually had to do, it would have been rated R if they didn't have to cut out some of the parts that they filmed. So
what ended up happening is they cut it out. But the screenwriter, she is saying to MTV that fingers crossed it'll be on the DVD.
And really, this is a PG movie that kids are able to watch, and now they have this access to see it, like the entire scene,
on DVD.
It's really just poisoning kids' minds.
Yeah, it's poisoning kids' minds. It's poisoning our minds. It's making us. It's degrading our minds. It's degrading our sense of morality. And just to finish with a quote. As a society, we need to replace all those sexualized images with ones that show girls in a positive setting, one that shows the uniqueness and competence of girls. And this is not just girls. As Dr. Zimbergen quoted just there, it's boys and it's men and it's women, and all together, if we work together to say no to this sort of stuff, say no to maybe letting your kids do this sort of stuff, it'll be a much better lifestyle. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks a lot, guys. And just to touch on Twilight, I mean, when I was growing up, vampires were meant to be scary. And these guys come out, it's meant to be romantic. Well, I think it's a bit unrealistic for us to take a girl on a first date and run her up a tree. I got a few tree lopping cousins, and I asked them have they taken their dates up high up in a tree. It doesn't really seem romantic, but hey, they seem to pull it off.
Maybe if you glittered.
Yeah, maybe if I glittered, but then they got proactive that they can look at it if my skin glittered like that. But back to the subject. Now, say I was a businessman. I'm endorsing these products. So what? So what? Like, they're buying my products. I'm getting paid. I'm providing for my family. So what?
I guess the main thing is that they're probably, I think some are intentional, some are unintentional. But the key thing that Adi and Ebony touched on is just the mind. I've again, in my role as a chaplain, I talk to young guys who's like, man, I really want to stop watching pornography, but I just can't. I often hear the word I can't. And basically what happens is just the way the brain functions, and they touched on the frontal lobe, is that whenever we have a thought, basically what happens in our brain is we have a neural strand. So we have like 100 billion neurons or so. And so you've got these 100 billion neurons, and as soon as you see an image or thought, there's a strand that connects between those two neurons. If you think of it as a piece of string, and basically that piece of string is where that image is actually physically recorded in your brain. What happens is when you keep thinking that same thought, so if you keep watching porn over and over, if you imagine 100 strands, 1,000, all of a sudden it becomes like a strong physical rope. And so when young guys say, I actually can't stop it, it's actually true, because there's actually physically, there's this massive strand or neural pathway it's like a freeway where the brain is so used to going that way that they actually can't stop. And the thing that amazes me is that when Jesus talks about this stuff, he actually starts with the mind. He talks like in Matthew 5, he says, I've heard it said, don't commit adultery, but I say that those who have lusted for a woman already in their mind have already committed adultery with her. So Jesus says, hey, stop it in the mind. In Romans chapter 12, it talks about how, it tells us not to conform to this world, but we need to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So again, if there's any young people out there who are sort of struggling with this and they say they can't stop it, the actual key to where it all starts and where you can make it end is in the mind. We need to change the way we think. And I guess the easiest way to think it is, say if you've got a main freeway going this way, which is pornography, you actually need to change the way you think and form a new freeway. So rather than your mind is going down pornography all the time, you need to start building new strands and going, where you're looking at pictures of people with clothes on. It's actually quite nice to pictures of people with clothes on and stuff, and programs of people with clothes on. And after a while, when this becomes a stronger freeway, you actually be able to break free from this. But again, it's so hard because someone's trying to get off porn, like not clicking on porn, and then all they need to do is go to the local Westfield shopping centre, and you've got half-naked women all over the place, or just watch an advertisement on TV, or watch MTV, like I said, or porn for teens, as I call it. And that's why it's so tough for young people today.
How do you think these sort of ads or pornography affect relationships, like how people see their partners?
I think they set a standard. I think they set a standard for, because guys think, all right, I want my girlfriend to look like that. And girls, I want my boyfriend to look like that. And physically, not everyone can look like that. I mean, if we go back into how models are, they starve themselves to get like that. It's not a healthy way of life, and that's not what a real woman is. And it takes away the beauty of what real women are and what real men are.
Another facet of that, I think, is where perhaps you may not want your partner to change, because you may accept your partner, but you may imagine someone else when you're with your partner. And it, in a sense, that really still devalues the relationship, because you don't want to be with your partner, you want to be with someone else that has been, like you mentioned, has a woman or a man who has hurt their body, harmed their body to achieve that look, or whose image has been airbrushed to look like that, or who has had surgery to look like that, to enhance features. And this goes for guys or girls. And it's not real. I think that's part of it, is it's unrealistic, but we think it's normal. Or we come to think it's normal. And I think it's harder in Australia in a way, because we have such a great beach culture. And so as soon as the temperature rises out of the teens,
bring on the bikinis,
and it's 21, it's time for hot pants and tiny tops. Now I don't see myself in that way, so I tend to cover my body, partly to protect the innocent. And I find it weird, it'll be overcast, it'll be raining, but there will be girls in hot pants with tiny, tiny tops. And I think, aren't you cold? And I don't want to judge them because I don't know their experience or their story. But I think we as an Australian culture, we're very tolerant and accepting of getting your nude on and getting your tan on. And that's how we are. We're so laid back in the sun, having a great time. I think that we are almost just there already without even trying to have more influences. And I think it's kind of sad that that's normal and healthy and that's how you look good.
Well, we'll head over to our health segment now and see what healthy tips Shani has for us this week. Over to you, Shani.
Today's health tips are designed to help you nurture your mental well-being. Each year, the Mental Health Foundation makes a list of 10 top tips on World Mental Health Day to help people look after their mental well-being. This year's tips were eat a balanced diet, maintain friendships, nurture close relationships, exercise, sleep, laugh and cry, ask for help when you need it, and make time for yourself, and put your work life into balance. Although these are simple tips, they may make the world of difference to your mental well-being. Perhaps try them out for a week, or consider keeping a mental well-being diary where you can keep track of your emotions, thoughts, amount of sleep you get, and reactions to those around you throughout the day. Remember to look out for those around you too, as helping others is also a great way to increase your own mental health as well as someone else's.
Thanks a lot, Shani. Guys, closing remarks before we wrap up.
Don't watch MTV.
That's it.
And if you must watch MTV, remember that your worth is in you, not in how good you shake your booty.
That's the one.
And if you're a parent too, just protect your kids. You know, a doctor named Amanda Gordon, she's the president of the Australian Psychological Society. She said, if the message is that you should be sexy and grown up instead of being a kid, then kids aren't practicing and learning how to be whole human beings that will actually make them into great adults. So, you know, just let kids be kids, you know, and, you know, because we're promoting for them to be sexy and to be grown up. Just let them enjoy, you know, being a kid. And I'd just like to close on Philippians 4 verses 8. It says, now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honourable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Now, if we talked about how, you know, it affects your brain and it makes you want to go back there once you watch it. I heard one chaplain say one of the things he gives advice to his students when they think about porn is to go have a cold shower, you know, and it's true. We've got to build new habits instead of going back to pornography. So if you're struggling with this sort of thing, fill your mind with good things, and if you're thinking about even visiting those sites, maybe you have to have a cold shower or go for a walk, not to the Westfield where you're surrounded by more images, but, you know, somewhere out in the park. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, panel, for your wisdom and for your advice, and to our wonderful audience. And I thank you for joining us. And join us next week. Just remember, the girl next to that beautiful car doesn't come with the car. Enjoy your week.